Welcome to Around Africa Today, your window into the people, stories, culture, music, food, and traditions shaping the African continent. From major headlines to the sounds and movement coming out of Africa's street, we bring you 5 stories from across the continent today. I'm your host, and this is Around Africa Today. Let's get started. Cameroon makes WAFCON history. We begin in Morocco today, where Cameroon has written a new chapter in African women's football. The indomitable Lioness have been crowned champions of the 2026 Women African Cup of Nations after defeating Malawi 3-0 in the final. For Cameroon, this is a historic moment. It is the country's first WAFCON title, and it places Cameroon among the elite nations to have lifted the Women's Continental Trophy. But Malawi also leaves the tournament with its own remarkable story. The tournament debutants reached the final and secured qualification for the Women's World Cup for the first time in their history. From Cameroon to Malawi, the tournament has shown once again that women's football in Africa is growing, competitive, and full of new possibilities. And for the fans, the celebration have only just begun. Eighty-three Nigerians return from South Africa. From sport, we turn to a development involving Nigerians returning home from South Africa. 83 Nigerians have arrived back in Nigeria following their repatriation from South Africa. The returnees arrived at Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos aboard a South African Airways flight. The federal government has welcomed the development and commended those involved in helping the Nigerians return home. For the returnees, the journey marks the beginning of another chapter. And beyond the numbers is a wider African conversation about migration, mobility, and the experiences of Africans living and working across the continent. Now, let's turn up the volume. South Africa is preparing to host the second UNISA African Music Festival. The 2-day celebration brings together traditional African sounds and contemporary music. Among the instruments being showcased are the mbira, marimba, bow, and percussion. But this is more than just a concert. It is a meeting between Africa's musical past and its modern sound. Traditional instruments that have carried stories across generations are finding new life through jazz, Afrofusion, and contemporary African music. And that is one of the most fascinating things about African music. It changes and evolves, but it rarely forgets where it came from. The dance movement taking Côte d'Ivoire by storm. Now, if you think African dance is all about traditional steps, wait until you see this. In Côte d'Ivoire, a new generation of young dancers has taken street dance to another level. It is called Biama. Fast, energetic, acrobatic, and extremely difficult to master. The dance has emerged from Côte d'Ivoire vibrant coupe de calle culture and is being pushed by young dancers through street battles and social media. Some performers are barely teenagers, others are still children. But when the music stopped, the competition becomes serious. Every movement matters. Every step counts, and improvisation is part of the game. Social media has also helped the dance travel beyond neighborhoods in Abidjan, giving young Ivorians a new way to showcase their creativity to the world. This is Africa's youth culture in motion. From the dance floor to the kitchen. And now from the dance floor, we take you straight to the kitchen. Welcome to our Around Africa Food and Language Corner. Today we are staying in Côte d'Ivoire. One of the country's well-known culinary traditions is sauce grain, a rich sauce made from palm nuts and commonly enjoyed with different food. Interestingly, food is even finding its way into African pop culture. One of the young Biama dancers featured in the current Ivorian dance movement is known by the name Sauce Grain. It is a perfect example of how African culture connects everything together: food, music, There's language, identity, and tradition. And speaking of language, Cote d'Ivoire's official language is French, while many indigenous African languages are spoken across the country. So here is today's little language lesson. Bonjour. It simply means hello, a good morning in French. One word, one language, another piece of Africa. And that's a wrap on today's edition of Around Africa today. From Cameroon's historic football triumph to Nigerians returning home from South Africa, from Africa's traditional musical instrument to the energetic Biama dance of Cote d'Ivoire, and finally to the food and language that help define African identity. Africa is not just a continent, it is millions of stories, millions of voices and countless cultures. Join us again for another journey around Africa today. Until then, keep discovering Africa.